We talking about practice, y'all. I say we talking about practice. Shout out to WVC Smirks for telling your boy he's muted. I'm trying different things when I populate this show across the internet. So, do you guys prefer the silence or do you prefer the chatter? I'm assuming you guys prefer the chatter with the screen up. I'm John Browner. This is the John Browner Podcast. For those of you who don't know, by the way, I dropped my first Charger pod for the Sporting Tribune. So check that out on their X channel. But you are here at the John Browner Podcast. The John Browner Podcast here is available Monday through Friday. We start this thing at 10. We end this thing somewhere around 11. We're going to start rolling in some guests for football season. When basketball season, we're going to start rolling in some guests. All those guests will more than likely be courtesy of the Sporting Tribune. There's some other people I want to try to have on that I'm working out. I'm sending emails. I'm going to try to get Jason Lawhead on once a week. I'm going to try to get Alex Padilla on once a week, but you know that's tough. That guy's a tough get these days. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. As always, if you want to be a part of the show, you can hop into the chat, be one in the chat pack, or just email me at johnbrownerpodcast@gmail.com. The bills go there, so I check it. That's how you become a part of the show. If you're interested in doing so via email, you want to write a complaint, you want to, do something long form, you want to advertise with the show, the johnbrownerpodcast@gmail.com is how and where you do that. You can also help the show by buying something at the John Browner Podcast shop, courtesy of Shopify. We've got stickers. Don't buy the stickers. I'm working on getting different stickers, but we got shorts, shirts, and hoodies. John Browner Podcast shop at Shopify. I think the stuff is pretty cool. If you know somebody who bought some of it, it's really comfortable, actually. So shout out to your boy. I got a couple things I want to show y'all. The show is available on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Kick. The Kick bots always seem to show up at some point during the show, and I know they will today because they operate like clockwork because they're bots. 2, you can also download the show via the iTunes podcast page. All you got to do is go to iTunes, John Browner Podcast, type that thing in, subscribe, so we can also continue to build that. The reviews are in. Start talking. The reviews are in. They would prefer if I chatted during that time when the show is starting, when the cover screen is on. Gotcha. Shout out to WVC Smirks for breaking that down. Okay, so let's. I want to show you guys something. You tell me if you like this one. The first one I have to format, but you tell me what you think it is.
Subscribe to the John Browner Podcast on YouTube and download the podcast on iTunes. Now, go! Before you forget!
What do y'all think of that? Is that weird? Is that funny? Because I got another one. So I'm trying to find different ways to put things together on the show. So here's the second one. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this one.
Subscribe to the John Browner Podcast on YouTube and download the podcast on iTunes. I know I don't look like him. Just go subscribe.
I like that one. That one's kind of dope. Everybody seems to have liked the second one better. So y'all tell me what y'all think about that before I start posting those. I'm going to use one of those to close the show. I don't know which one. You guys let me know, and then we'll probably go with that one. So not one more thing. Let's start here. On today's show, we're going to talk about the football action we saw last night across the NFL. We're going to ask if the Padres can do this again in Cleveland. Can they keep the winning feeling going? But let's start here. Let's start here with something that's very close to my heart. The Chicago Bears. I'm all for the Chicago Bears getting a stadium. I'm all for the Chicago Bears, playing football. But if you don't play football in Illinois, preferably in the city limits of Chicago, you're not the Chicago Bears. If you move to Northwest, and understand what I'm about to say, Indiana, you're not the Chicago Bears. Everybody will tell you that the Dallas Cowboys don't play in Dallas. They play in Arlington. That's still in Texas, my man. You can be the Chicago Bears and play in Joliet or Evanston. You can be the Chicago Bears and play in Downers Grove. You can be the Chicago Bears and play anywhere within the state lines. If you are the Chicago Bears and you play in Gary, Indiana, you're not the Chicago Bears. You're the Indiana Bears. This is not complicated. And I know the NFL's got their rules. I promise you, if the Chicago Bears move to the state of Indiana to play football and still attempt to continue to call themselves the Chicago Bears, they will literally be sued by the city. Kevin Johnson, the mayor, not that Kevin Johnson from the Phoenix Suns. I'm sorry, Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson, the mayor for Chicago, has been great on many things. This has been an absolute failure. Governor Pritzker has been great on a lot of things. This is an absolute failure. Do I believe that the city or the state and taxpayer funds should go to build a stadium for a billionaire franchise? Absolutely not, I don't. But you got to kick in something if you want the team to stay. That's how this works. Unless you have a Stan Kroenke level owner. If Governor Pritzker was the owner of the Chicago Bears, he wouldn't need the city's money. He wouldn't need the state's money. The McCaskies do. And they're not going to sell the team. So at some point, you got to start living in the reality in which this operates. And if you're living in the reality in which this operates, you've got to ask an honest question. If the Chicago Bears want to stay the Chicago Bears, the taxpayer has to cut a check. How big of a check is how big of a check can you stomach? That's what this becomes. It's not complicated for me. It really isn't. I'm going to root for the Chicago Bears. I would like for the Chicago Bears to be in Chicago. That's it. That's all. I would like for the Chicago Bears to be in the city of Chicago. If you cannot get them in the city of Chicago, I would like them preferably in the goddamn state of Illinois. If they move the team to Indiana, you're not the Chicago Bears. You're not even the Illinois Bears because you're in an entirely different state. The Chiefs play in Arrowhead in Kansas City, Missouri. The Chiefs are moving their stadium. The Chiefs are building a new stadium. I don't know where that stadium is located. I'll look into it. But if you're a Chicago Bears fan, and I'm not a fan. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I have been since the day I knew what the Chicago Bears were. Through all the losing, through all the pain, through all the frustrated broken remotes, through all the cursing at the television, I have been a Chicago Bears fan no matter where I've gone in the world during football season. I've either tried to watch the Chicago Bears or check in to see what the score was from the Chicago Bears. One of the worst fandoms of my life is when I originally moved to San Diego, and my uncle told me WGN plays the Chicago Bears games. On Sunday, I didn't see a single damn Chicago Bear game. I went a year, my senior year of high school, here in San Diego without watching the Bears game, and I hated it. By the way, I own this cup. This cup's a left-handed cup, which is awesome. So if you told me the Los Angeles Chargers were going to keep the name San Diego Chargers, but they were going to play in SoFi, you could argue that. You're still in the state. You are outside of the county, 200 miles outside of the county, but at least you're in the state. The Chicago Bears are having conversations about moving to Indiana and keeping the name. Listen, if you're going to go, take your shit, bro. I think that's really the sentiment that most people have. And by the way, the second the Chicago Bears become the Indiana Bears and the city of Chicago sues them for the name, that they're now using the name in Indiana, the NFL is just going to move another team into Chicago. Watch. And that team's going to play in Soldier Field. Because as bad as the fans of the Chicago Bears want a new stadium, overwhelmingly they will tell you, I would rather continue to go to shitty Soldier Field by the frozen lake with poor transportation to get to the stadium with no tailgate parking lot. I would rather continue to do that than to have the Bears move to Indiana for a new stadium. So Kevin Warren is making enemies. And now he's telling you the fan, Kevin Warren just got here. And this is my problem. Kevin Warren just got here. He just got the job 4 years ago. And now Kevin Warren is telling you that the fans would rather have a brand new state-of-the-art stadium in Indiana than to have the shitty stadium, but the Chicago Bears still be the Chicago Bears. Nah, fam. So we start there. We start there. If you agree or you disagree, you let me know, man. Let me know. Hop in the chat. Let me know if you agree or you disagree with that. Because to me, this isn't really that long of a conversation, man. If you're asking me, this is real simple. If you move to Indiana, you're the Indiana Bears. If you move to Naperville, you're the Chicago Bears. If you move to Plainsville, these are Chicago suburbs. If you move to Dalton, Illinois, you're the Chicago Bears. Notice you're still in Illinois. If you move to Springfield, Illinois, you can still be the Chicago Bears. If you move to Indiana, northwest Indiana, if you move to Gary, Indiana, you are not the Chicago Bears. You are the Indiana Bears. I don't care how close the state line is. There's a reason there's a line. So, last night we saw some football. Football. Last night we saw some football. It's actually in my opinion, we saw some pretty impressive football. There are a couple of games across the docket that we're going to talk about today. Last night's game consisted of the Titans beating the 49ers. Again, it's preseason. The Chargers playing the Texans as the Texans backups absolutely self-destructed. The Cardinals beat the Raiders, but the way that game played out is more important. The Colts and the Patriots somehow, some way, magically tied. And the Lions lost to the Bengals in a non-sequential game. So did the Steelers, kick the stones out of the Packers. Will Howard was absolutely awesome in that game. So, preseason, week 1, we still got a couple of games left to go. Tomorrow we've got the Bears and the Browns, the Dolphins, the Commanders, and the Panthers and the Bills. Sorry, the Dolphins and the Commanders play tonight. So there's a lot more games to come. But most importantly, we're going to focus on the rookies. Because last night, I thought, we could talk about the Chargers for a second. I thought last night what you saw from the Chargers in the preseason was competent football play. It was very competent football play. The offensive line was good. Like I said, the Texans self-destructed. The Chargers' backup quarterback situation was atrocious. I like DJ Lululemulelele way more than I liked Trey Lance last night. But again, it's one preseason game, and those guys they've been around, so I'm not too tied up about that. Most impressive thing last night from the Chargers was the right receiver named Lambert Smith and the offensive line. So that's not really much to talk about there because they don't have any rookies or anybody who's actually going to be doing it. Lambert Smith might actually get some run, and you won't see the Chargers back up unless something goes grossly wrong with Justin Herbert. So let's focus on Fernando Mendoza. If you watched last night's game as a Raider fan, and I know we've got a couple in here, and I'm glad y'all here today. What did you walk away from that game saying to yourself about Fernando Mendoza? Because last night, I walked away from that game thinking that Fernando Mendoza has whatever the it is. I walked away from last night's game wondering why you would ever play Kirk Cousins to start the game. I thought Fernando Mendoza looked absolutely prepared. I thought Fernando Mendoza threw some rockets for completions. The touchdown Fernando Mendoza threw, that was not a rookie touchdown. He put the ball in a place where only his wide receiver can get it. Now, he did throw some rookie throws throughout the game to get down the field. He set a couple of his guys up to get correct in the cover 2, because that's all they're really running, cover 2 schemes. The reason why I like the preseason is because there's no schemes. There's not really a lot of blitzing. It's just, hey, man, can you beat your man one-on-one? Can you block and especially the offensive line play, can you beat your man one-on-one? Can the left tackle beat the end? Can the guard beat the defensive tackle? Can the wide receivers beat the corners? Can the safeties beat the tight ends? Can the linebackers tackle in the run game? That's what I like to see in the preseason because it ain't no smoke and mirrors. There you go. See ball, hit ball. See man, hit man. Blocking and tackling. The basics of football is what you see in the preseason. And last night, what I saw from Fernando Mendoza was impressive in the sense that he was prepared. He knew where to go with the ball. You could see his time in Indiana fully on display by his ability to hike the ball. That's not open. That's not open. That's not open. Check down. You could watch Fernando Mendoza play football and see he can read the entire field. Fernando Mendoza wasn't hiking the ball and staring down someone. Fernando Mendoza had an understanding, again, not a command, an understanding for the offense, because when that ball got hiked, he knew where he wanted to go, and if that wasn't there, he could move to the next thing. When nothing was there and he had to scramble due to pressure, he got out of the pocket. He got rid of the ball. A couple of hits he took were unnecessary, but again, he's a rookie. From what I saw From what I saw Fernando Mendoza do, there's no reason why Fernando Mendoza cannot be the starter. I thought Fernando Mendoza handled himself about as well as one could. I I really did. I thought that there is nothing more Fernando Mendoza could have done out there to, further cement his case that he needs to be on the field. 10 for 16, 97 yards, 9 yards a pass, one touchdown, one sack. The best running back in the game, by the way, Ashton Gentry had 3 carries. Jeremiah Love had 11 for 58 yards, had a 16-yard run. He looks good. This was a good game to evaluate rookies. I thought I was going to see Carson Beck. We didn't, but okay. We saw Jeremiah Love. I was impressed. We saw Fernando Mendoza. I will say I was impressed. So I don't think the Raiders have a tough decision on their hands. He's shown you what he can do. I don't really understand. What more conversations do we need to have? There's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some poor play. There's going to be a lot of things that don't go Fernando Mendoza's way. None of that matters. None of it matters. Fernando Mendoza needs to be on the field. Kirk Cousins would be a spectacular backup. Kirk Cousins is a professional. And by the way, if Fernando Mendoza ever struggles, you know who you can put in? Kirk Cousins. There's nothing but upside from this, man. There really is nothing but upside from this. Again, 10 for 16, 97 yards, 9 yards of completion on average, and a touchdown. I'm good. You good? I'm good. Raider fan, you good? Ask Technology Raider fan, you good? Literally, Raider versus everyone. You good with what you saw? That's what you want to see. Move along now. See? We Gucci. I agree. They are Gucci, as he just put it. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. And by the way, the energy in that building, which wasn't sold out, it was a preseason game. And by the way, the fact that they charge regular season prices for these preseason games are fucking atrocious. How greedy can you be as an NFL owner? It's a preseason game, man. Wouldn't you rather sell the tickets at half a price and sell the whole building out as opposed to sell the tickets for full price and half full? Less than half full. If you are, I don't understand. See, this is me. This is my NFL, free advice hat. I should have a banner that goes free advice. If you're going to have preseason games, you only have 3 of them. Make these community outreach games. Give every ticket to the Upper Bowl, give it to an after-school program. Every ticket in the Upper Bowl, give it to some type of Boys and Girls Club. Give it to some type of community outreach. Give it to some type of, elderly program. Fill the Upper Bowl with free seats or extremely discounted seats for people who will never get a chance to ever pay full price for an NFL ticket. As a poor young man on the south side of Chicago, I shit you not, I've never stepped foot in Soldier Field. Not because I didn't want to, because we could not afford it. That's how poor I was. And by the time I got money, I didn't care to go. Have I been to a Bears game? Absolutely. When the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football played the San Diego Chargers, and Jay Cutler threw a dart. I think it was to Martellus Bennett. I was in the end zone Well, not in the end zone, obviously, because I wasn't on the field. But I've seen the Chicago Bears play live. I went in my best jersey. Shout out to Mike Brown. Wore my Mike Brown jersey. That Mike Brown jersey is for somebody who 300 pounds. At the time, I was probably 175, and I'll look it. So you shout out to Danny who went with me. So I've been to Chicago Bears games, but there's a way that these teams need to start doing outreach, man. Start getting some of these poor underprivileged kids in these buildings during the preseason. It don't matter. It don't matter. These games ain't these guys ain't gonna be on the team. Fill the stadium for them. Let their families come see them play. But that's a soapbox situation. But yeah, shout out to Fernando Mendoza, man. Fernando Mendoza was good last night. I was impressed. I'm ready to see more. I need to see more. I need to see more snaps. Second preseason game. Let him play into halftime. Let him play in the halftime, man. Let's see what he got. The more, the better. The more we see from Fernando Mendoza, the better off the rest of everybody will be. If you're new to the podcast, subscribe. Subscribe. Here's my guy. Here's a message. Here's a message about subscribing to the John Browner Podcast.
Subscribe to the John Browner Podcast on YouTube and download the podcast on iTunes. I know I don't look like him. Just go subscribe.
Get used to seeing that. Get used to seeing that bad boy. That's going to be around. That's going to be around, people. So shout out. Are you worried that the Padres can't do what they did again? Are you worried that the Padres are going to drop ball? Are you worried that the Chicago Bears? Are you worried that San Diego Padres cannot keep this up? I'm not. Can they win their 6th straight game? I don't see why not. The Cleveland Guardians, which again still sounds terrible. Tonight they're throwing Gavin Williams, 11-6 record, their best pitcher. I think this is their best pitcher. 3.55 ERA, 144 innings pitched, 109 strikeouts, and 109 hits. 185 strikeouts. He's given up 22 home runs. He's only got 41 walks, so it's going to be a lot of strikeouts tonight. So if you got Manny Machado on your prize picks, go over on strikeouts. No matter the number, go over. The matchup projector, courtesy of ESPN, has the Padres being a 50.2 chance of winning the game. 50.2. So basically, they're saying that this start is a toss-up. I think that this has to be a game. I think that this has to be a game that the Padres win. I think that this has to be a series, and we talked about this coming up. This has to be one of these series that the Padres go out here and they absolutely take care of business. You've won 5 straight games. Make it 6. Again, this is their best pitcher. I think Tanner Beebe's pretty good too. You've got him down the line as well. But if you asking, Gavin Williams has their most wins, has their most strikeouts. So I'm going to tell y'all Gavin Williams is their best pitcher. But you can take 3. That 10:40 game on Sunday, that's gross. 10:48. That if they lose this series, they will absolutely lose because that 10:40 a.m. game on Sunday. That body clock's annihilated. What it do, Rigby family? Shout out to Tito. Ass Technology. Raiders versus everyone. Gucci. WVC Smirk. Shout out to the chat pack today, man. But yeah, I don't know. Can the Padres keep this up? Let's hope so. Let's absolutely hope so. If you're new to the program, I broke down what we saw last night in the preseason football. We talked about can the Padres keep this up, and I gave y'all a little bit of something when we started the show about why the Chicago Bears, if they move to Indiana, can no longer be the Chicago Bears. They have to be the Indiana Bears because you're playing in Indiana. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you guys really have objected to the San Diego Chargers playing in SoFi? Would you have allowed them to keep the name San Diego Chargers when they were playing in Carson? Or San Diego Chargers now that they play in LA at SoFi? Would you be upset with the name change? Or if the name stayed the same, would you be upset? If the identity of the team, if the name identity of the team was still in the city, would you be upset? Because I heard a lot of people say they wouldn't have been as mad at the Chargers if they would have moved to Las Vegas. Or they wouldn't have been as mad at the Chargers if they would have moved. I think the other site was where the dump was, where they couldn't build a stadium because it was literally a toxic site. I think Mayor Nutter was the guy, if I remember correctly. So what are we doing? So yeah, man, the Padres have a good opportunity tonight with Michael King. Michael King's on the mound tonight. It's been a very, very interesting week for the Padres, man. It really has. My nose is like super itching. It's been a really, really good week for the Padres. I have absolutely enjoyed what happened in the Milwaukee series. I absolutely enjoyed what occurred in the Houston series. So from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, Friday game, Thursday travel day, Friday game. No complaints from me. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it going. Let's see some more Padre wins, man. That's what we need. There ain't really much to talk about because there ain't no game. There wasn't really any changes in the wild card as far as the Padres go, so let me double check because I think the Diamondbacks lost last night too. So now the Philly won. The Diamondbacks lost, so the Diamondbacks are 2.5. The Diamondbacks are a game behind the Padres, and Philly is a game behind the Padres, a half a game behind the Padres. So yeah, man, keep being one of the hottest teams in baseball. Keep being one of the hottest teams in baseball, man. We'll get there. I don't want to hear about no Musgrove throwing in El Paso. El Paso's ass. You know that, Tito. We need Musgrove throwing in a Padre uniform on the mound in the brown. Okay? Until we get Musgrove on the mound wearing brown, I don't care. I don't care. Until we get Nick Pivetta on the mound wearing brown, I don't care. The results, unless it's injury related, the results from El Paso will be pointless, good or bad. If he doesn't dominate down there, it won't make no difference to me. It's not like they're not going to bring him up. If Nick Pivetta gets shelled, but he feels healthy, they're going to bring him up. If Joe Musgrove gets shelled, but he's healthy, they're going to bring him up. So, whatever. I ain't mad at it. I just don't care. Unless you take the mound in your brown, I don't care what happens in El Paso. I really don't. So, yeah, man. It's Friday. Let's get this weekend started. Where we at? Let's get this weekend started, man. So I take it y'all like the new Steve Coast, Edwin Diaz Jazz, buddy. You're looking like a bust as a signing. Edwin Diaz, you better get them trumpets out, big fella. Instead of playing the trumpets, they need to be playing a saxophone for Edwin Diaz. They might play the trumpet for Edwin Diaz when he come out. Boy, but when he start pitching, I sure hear the saxophone. Y'all know what that saxophone mean, boy. When you hear that saxophone, nothing good happens. So, as much as I don't think what's happening with the Dodgers is a sign of anything, what's happening to Edwin Diaz, that might be real. What is happening to Edwin Diaz, that might actually be real. So yeah, I'm gonna get that saxophone sound on here. I don't think the Dodgers' worries are real. I think that's just the hiccups of baseball, what's happening to the Dodgers. What's happening to Edwin Diaz, I think that is tangible. I think there is some fire from that smoke. All teams get injured. All hitting guys go through slumps. It's 162 games. It's the hardest season to play. It's not debatable. It's more grueling on your mind than it is your body. The, gauntlet of repetition that is needed for baseball makes it tough. But what's happening to Edwin Diaz, that feels very, very real. When the manager has to say, I ain't got nobody else to put in. Who you want me to put in? Dave Roberts asked a reporter yesterday, who do you want me to put in? Those other guys haven't thrown the ball well in that spot either. But everybody listen, don't get too excited. Roy Sasaki might just come right back and close the games. But this is funny. I do think what's happening to Edwin Diaz is real. I'm sure he can fix it. He's a professional, and he's got a long track record of success. But coming off of injury and looking this bad, that's not. WVC makes a very good point. Dodgers got enough starters to put him in the bullpen. Absolutely. Blake Snell might be your closer. I don't think he'll do. I think Blake Snell will bitch if you make him do it, but he'll do it. He's making enough money. So yeah, man, that feels real. That feels more real than anything. Any Dodger fan that told you that Edwin Diaz was better than Mason Miller is hitting the crack pipe hard. Mason Miller is the best closer we have seen in Major League Baseball in quite some time. I told you, Tommy Diecast, them trumpets, they sound like the saxophone, boy. They sound like that saxophone. You hear that saxophone on the internet, something bad about to happen to somebody. I'm going to put that saxophone on here. Any shows this weekend, JB? What are you up to? So, Joe, very important. I am doing a charity show. Where's my phone? Let me see. I can tell you exactly when the date is. I am doing a charity show. I'm doing a charity show. I'm trying to find the. I think no. No. Anyway, I'm doing a charity show. I can't find the link for it. Hold on. Anyway, I'm doing a charity show on. It's called. Okay, there it is. I'm doing a charity show called Comedy for a Cause, Thursday, October the 22nd, between 6 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $23. It is to build homes for underprivileged children in Mexico. That's the show I got coming up. And then after that, I have another show at Long Ball in Mission Hills in September. So yeah. Listen, see, here you go. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that, man. See what happens? They watch in silence. And then when they feel like they're being made fun of, here they come. Ain't nobody said nothing about going to the World Series, dog. We just saying Edwin Diaz is a problem. You know Edwin Diaz is a problem too. You know Edwin Diaz is a problem too. You cannot sit here and bring this up. You cannot see. What are you doing? You cannot sit here and bring this up and say, have the Padres been to a World Series this century? Bro, we're just saying Edwin Diaz is struggling. You have to acknowledge that. That has nothing to do with the Padres going to the World Series. That has nothing to do with the Rockies. Hold on. He also he or she followed that up by saying, the Rockies have been to the World Series I think he means this century. See, we just see, you gotta be careful with these kind of people, man. They can't just acknowledge when they're struggling. It's okay. You're still first in the division. You're still the World Series favorite. Why can't you just admit that Edwin Diaz is struggling and it sucks? When the Padres suck, there's only one person in here will say they don't suck, and that's Soup. That's Super Mercado. He's the only one who won't say that they suck. Everybody else in here will say that they suck. We are realists. We understand. We get it. You're going for a three-peat as a Dodger fan, and you can't even admit that the closer sucks right now. That's crazy, dog. That's crazy. That's cult behavior, man. That is cult behavior. Look at it. Say it. That's cult behavior. Listen, say it out loud. The Rockies have been to the World Series. Yeah, they have. But what's the point is that Edwin Diaz sucks right now. And the fact that you can't admit that is crazy. What up, Biggie? What up, Tommy Diecast? Joseph's not crazy. Typical. Bro, that's... You have a good weekend too, Biggie. We about to get out of here. Dodger fans, y'all wild, bro. Y'all wild, Dodger fans. WVC for the 50th time. Okay, now then. Okay, now. Okay. See, I be feel like I'm having a stroke when I be reading some of these. Okay, now then. When will the captain and crew ever come back? Not in the form in which you saw it the first time. If it ever returns, it won't be in the way that you think. Okay? I mean, yeah, all we could do is shake our heads, Joe. What up, Crystal Davis? Y'all have a good weekend, man. Walk around, get some fresh air. Put your feet in the grass. And admit that Edwin Diaz is ass. Bye.
Subscribe to the John Browner podcast on YouTube and download the podcast on iTunes. I know I don't look like him. Just go subscribe.